I don't respect you anymore. My wife said it the way someone might mention they're out of milk. Calm. Matter of fact. Like she'd been carrying this truth around for so long that it had lost all its weight for her, even if it was about to crush me. I was 44 years old, married for 16 years, and sitting across from the woman I'd built my entire adult life around. We were in our kitchen, Tuesday night. Leftover pasta getting cold on the counter. Thank you, I said. She blinked. What? Thank you for finally being honest with me. Let me back up just a little. Not much, because honestly, the backstory doesn't matter as much as you'd think. We'd been having the talk for months. You know the one, where nothing gets resolved, but everyone gets to air their grievances before retreating to opposite corners of the house. Where, I feel like we're roommates, gets thrown around like it's some kind of revelation instead of just a symptom of two people who'd stopped trying. But this was different. This wasn't her saying she felt disconnected or that we needed to work on things. This was her telling me, in plain English, that she'd lost respect for me. That's when I knew it was over. You're thanking me, she repeated, her fork frozen halfway to her mouth. Yeah, I've been waiting for you to say what you actually mean instead of dancing around it. So thank you. Really. Her name was Natalie. She worked in marketing for a tech startup, made decent money, always had her shit together. Me? I taught high school English, graded papers at the kitchen table, made jokes about Hemingway to teenagers who couldn't care less. We'd met in college, got married young, never had kids because we weren't ready yet, which eventually became, maybe it's not for us. The respect thing hadn't come out of nowhere. I could see it eroding over the years, like watching a shoreline disappear one wave at a time. It started small. The way she'd correct me in front of friends. The eye rolls when I'd tell a story she'd heard before. The deep sigh when I'd suggest we try something new for dinner. Then it got bigger. She stopped asking my opinion on anything important. Bought a new car without consulting me. Planned a vacation with her sister and told me about it instead of inviting me. Started saying things like, you wouldn't understand, when talking about her work, even though I had a master's degree and could probably understand just fine. I don't know what you want me to say, she said finally, setting her fork down. I don't want you to say anything. I'm just done pretending this is working. So that's it. I'm honest with you and you just give up. I laughed. Actually laughed. Natalie, you just told me you don't respect me. What exactly am I supposed to do with that information? Try harder to earn your respect? Become someone different? I'm 44 years old. I am who I am. And if that person isn't worthy of your respect, then we're done. She stood up, her chair scraping against the tile. You're being dramatic. Am I? Tell me something. When did you stop respecting me? I don't. No, seriously. When? Was it when I took that teaching job instead of going into corporate training? Was it when I didn't push back hard enough on your mom at Thanksgiving 3 years ago? Was it when I cried at my dad's funeral? Give me a date. A moment. Something. Her face did this thing. This flicker of something I couldn't quite read. Guilt, maybe. Or just exhaustion. It wasn't one thing, she said quietly. Then what was it? She didn't answer that night. Instead, she went upstairs, took a shower, and went to bed. I stayed in the kitchen, staring at those cold leftovers, trying to figure out when exactly my marriage had died, and I just hadn't noticed. The next morning, I called a lawyer. Not because I was angry, not because I wanted revenge, but because once someone tells you they don't respect you, there's no coming back from that. You can work through a lot in a marriage. Communication issues, financial stress, even infidelity if both people are willing to fight for it. But respect? That's the foundation. Once it's gone, you're just two people living in the same house, being polite to each other until one of you has the guts to leave. The lawyer's name was David Chun. Late 50s, kind eyes, office that smelled like old books and coffee. He listened to my story without interrupting, took a few notes, then leaned back in his chair. You seem very calm about this, he said. I am. Most people who come in here are either furious or devastated. I'm neither. I'm just clear. Does that make sense? He nodded. It does. It also makes my job easier. Do you know if she'll contest the divorce? I have no idea. Natalie didn't contest it. She didn't even seem surprised when I told her I'd filed. We were in the living room this time. I'd just gotten home from school. She was on the couch with her laptop, probably answering emails. I filed for divorce today, I said. She looked up, closed her laptop. Okay. What do you want me to say? I don't know. Something. Anything. She set the laptop aside and stood up. You're right. We both know this hasn't been working for a long time. I didn't think you'd actually do it. Why? Because I'm too passive? Too comfortable? Not enough of a man to make a hard decision. Don't put words in my mouth. Then tell me what you actually think. For once, just tell me the truth. She was quiet for a long moment. Then, I think you settled. For this life, for this marriage, for me. I think you stopped trying to be the person you wanted to be and just existed. And I don't know how to respect someone who won't fight for themselves. That hit different. Not because it was cruel, but because somewhere deep down, I knew there was truth in it. We agreed to mediation instead of a court battle. Split everything 50-50. Sold the house. The whole process took about 6 months, which apparently is pretty fast for a divorce. No kids. No major assets to fight over. Just 2 people who'd run out of road. During that time, something strange happened. I started living again. I joined a gym. Not to get revenge body or prove anything to Natalie, but because I'd spent 16 years letting my health slide and figured now was as good a time as any to fix it. I started running. Started lifting. Got my diet together. Lost 25 pounds in 4 months. I also started writing. Something I'd always wanted to do, but never made time for. Just short stories at first. Nothing publishable. But it felt good to create something that was entirely mine. To have thoughts and ideas that didn't get filtered through someone else's judgment. And I started saying yes to things. When my buddy Trevor invited me to a concert, I went instead of making excuses. When my department chair asked if I wanted to lead the new creative writing elective, I took it. When my sister invited me to visit her family in Colorado, I bought the ticket. Natalie noticed. Of course she noticed. We were still living in the same house, sleeping in separate bedrooms, doing this weird dance of almost divorced people who hadn't quite pulled the trigger yet. You seem different, she said one morning. We were both in the kitchen, grabbing coffee before work. Do I? Yeah. Lighter, I guess. Happier. Huh. She poured cream into her mug, stirred it slowly. I didn't mean what I said. That night. About not respecting you. Yes, you did. No, Natalie. You did. And that's okay. You were right. I had settled. I was just going through the motions. But thank you for saying it, because it woke me up. She looked at me like she was seeing someone she didn't recognize. So this is who you are now? Mr. Positive? Mr. I'm doing great without you. No. This is just who I am when I'm not constantly worried about whether I'm good enough for someone who's already decided I'm not. The divorce finalized on a Wednesday. We signed the papers in David's office. Natalie's lawyer was there, a sharp woman in her 30s who'd clearly handled hundreds of these. Everyone was professional, cordial. We shook hands afterward, wished each other well, walked to our separate cars. I sat in my driver's seat for a long time, expecting to feel something. Grief, relief, anger, regret. But mostly I just felt quiet. Like someone had turned off a noise I'd gotten so used to I didn't even notice it anymore until it was gone. I drove to the apartment I'd rented. 1 bedroom, decent neighborhood, close to the school. It wasn't much, but it was mine. I made dinner, watched a movie, went to bed early. The next morning, I woke up and realized I could do whatever I wanted. People think divorce is this catastrophic thing. And maybe for some people it is. But for me, it was just the end of something that had already ended a long time ago. We'd been holding onto the corpse of our marriage, pretending it was still alive because we were too scared or too proud or too comfortable to admit the truth. Natalie had done me a favor that night. By saying what she really thought, she'd given me permission to stop trying to be enough for someone I was never going to be enough for. Not because I was defective, but because we'd outgrown each other. Or maybe we'd just never fit as well as we'd convinced ourselves we did. I started dating about 8 months after the divorce. Nothing serious at first. Just coffee dates, dinners, conversations with women who didn't have 16 years of resentment built up between us. It was weird. I'd forgotten how to flirt. How to be present with someone without all that history weighing everything down. Then I met Catherine. She taught chemistry at a different high school across town. Divorced. 2 kids, both in college. She had this laugh that made her whole face light up and zero patience for bullshit. We met at a teacher's conference, started talking about how much we hated professional development workshops, and ended up getting drinks afterward. So what's your damage? She asked over her second glass of wine. My damage? Yeah. Everyone our age has damage. What's yours? I told her. Not everything, but the broad strokes. Married young. Grew apart. Wife told me she didn't respect me. Filed for divorce. Here I am. Ouch, she said. How'd you handle it? I thanked her. She laughed. You what? I thanked her for being honest. Then I filed for divorce. Best decision I ever made. Catherine studied me for a moment. You're serious? Completely. That's either the healthiest thing I've ever heard, or you're in deep denial. Maybe both. We dated for a year before moving in together. Another year before we got engaged. I'm not going to pretend it was perfect. She had her baggage, I had mine. But the difference was we talked about it. We didn't let things fester. We fought sometimes, sure, but we fought fair. And more importantly, we respected each other. I ran into Natalie about 2 years after the divorce. Grocery store. Produce section. She looked good. Different haircut, new style, but good. We made small talk. How's work? How's the family? The kind of polite conversation you have with someone you used to know well, but don't anymore. You look happy, she said, and there was something in her voice I couldn't quite place. I am. You. Yeah, I'm good. Dating someone. He's nice. That's great. Silence. The awkward kind where you both know there's more to say, but neither of you wants to say it. I'm sorry, she said finally. For what I said. That night. Don't be. You did me a favor. Did I? Yeah. You told me the truth. Most people don't have the guts to do that. And it pushed me to become someone I actually like. So thank you. She smiled, but it was sad. I think I was wrong. About you settling. I think maybe I was the one who settled. I didn't know what to say to that. So I just nodded. Take care of yourself, she said. You too. I watched her walk away, pushing her cart toward the dairy section, and felt nothing but gratitude. Not for the marriage. Not for the years we'd spent together. But for the ending. For her honesty, even if it hurt. For the push I needed to stop sleepwalking through my own life. Here's what I learned. Sometimes the worst thing someone can say to you is exactly what you need to hear. When Natalie said she didn't respect me, she wasn't trying to hurt me. She was just tired of pretending. And I was tired too. I just didn't know it yet. Respect isn't something you can earn back once it's lost. Not really. You can change, you can grow, you can become a different person entirely, but that history is still there. The best thing you can do is accept it and move on. I'm 48 now, married to Catherine for 6 months. We bought a house together. Small backyard, big kitchen, room for her kids when they visit. I still teach English. Still make my Hemingway jokes. But I also write every morning before school. I published my first short story collection last year. Small press, nothing fancy, but it's mine. Some nights I lie in bed next to Catherine and think about that Tuesday evening in my old kitchen. About how one sentence changed everything. About how sometimes the kindest thing someone can do is tell you a truth you don't want to hear. I don't respect you anymore. 5 words. And instead of destroying me, they rebuilt me. I never thanked Natalie properly for that. But maybe I didn't need to. Maybe living well really is the best thank you. Maybe showing her that I could take her worst truth and turn it into my best life was enough. Or maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe it doesn't matter why it happened or what it meant. Maybe all that matters is I'm happy now. Really happy. The kind of happy you can only get when you stop trying to be someone else's version of enough and start being your own. That night, when Natalie admitted she didn't respect me, I made a decision. Not to fight for her respect. Not to change her mind. But to walk away with my dignity intact and build something better. Best decision I ever made.